139.
I have sworn upon the altar of God eternal hostility against every form of tyranny over the mind of man. Thomas Jefferson. It's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
Yes, my friends, you have found us, the tip of the spear, the most successful anti-New World Order radio program in the world, and we're not bragging. We understand that is quite a responsibility. I hope you also realize that the globalists have done quite a lot to try to suppress this information over the last 50 years when people like Joel Skousen's uncle wrote The Naked Communist, trying to explain that ultra-rich were funding communism to shut down their competition. That's now, of course, an open secret. That our government put Mao Zedong into power. That's even on History Channel with the old CIA section chiefs bragging about it, that Lenin and Stalin were put in power by the banksters in the U.S. and England. Hitler was financed by the globalists. Doesn't mean they fully controlled them. They just put them into power. Just unbelievable tyranny that we're facing. And the globalists wrap themselves in the American flag and try to take all of our liberties. Again, Joel Skousen is a best-selling author, researcher, the preeminent expert on secure homes, and lived all over the world. His book, Strategic Relocation, is the Bible when it comes to, well, North America is in great detail than other breakdowns of the rest of the world, safer countries if you do want to leave the United States, but also micro areas around cities, the escape routes in the biggest cities. It's invaluable. I mean, I have one in my truck when I go traveling, and it's right there because it's a roadmap and it's something I need. I've got copies at home, and I thought so much of it, I made a film. Strategic Relocation, Joel Skousen details the safest places to live and how to secure your home, and he breaks down country by country and region by region as well. It's almost 3 hours long. And it's got some info that's not in the book, and the book's got info that's not in the film. Both of them available at InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. And the extras cover kind of a boil down of what's in his book, The Secure Home. So that's all available at InfoWarsStore.com or 888-253-3139. That's not the main reason he's here today. If you go over to his World Affairs Brief, in fact, let's put that up on screen for viewers, and I'll give them the URL. Thank you, here in a moment. If you go to his World Affairs Brief, he's got a new article out today where he looks at the Russian Navy conducts missile drills in the Pacific. Feds let Mexican cartel hitmen kill U.S. senior lawman. And that was even mainstream news a few days ago. He's got his boil down on that, folks. I haven't even covered that. In fact, will you guys reprint me that like AP article? Or you can print me the one Joel has up on his site. I mean, that's coming out now. I mean, we have a mafia government. And it's like the Texas State Police tried to stop the CPS from raping kids. The head of the DPS just got removed because of it a few years ago. You got the head of Penn State now being removed for covering up mass rape of children. Folks, Sandusky was supplying them, just like the big BBC reporter, Saville, that's in so much trouble. This is a cult of evil. But again, JoelSkousen.com will get you to World Affairs Brief as well. Joel Skousen, Skousen. And again, we'll put his site back up on screen real quick. And we'll roll it down so we can see the URL up at the top for viewers there as well. That's JoelSkousen.com. What's the alternate site if people want to look it up, Joel?
WorldAffairsBrief.com.
That's right. I visit it all the time, but sometimes I got too much data to keep in my head or keep focused in the conscious area of the brain. Joel, geopolitically, break down your Benghazi breaking news and what you see happening in the election. Give us your breakdown on all of that right now.
Let me just say before I start there that people can get a free sample copy of today's World Affairs Brief by emailing me at editor@worldaffairsbrief.com. And it's going to be chock full of what we're talking about today, and people will especially want to read my election recommendations. As we've talked about, Alex, before on your show, I am not a believer that Romney is an insider. In fact, I'm sure he's not an insider. They don't let people on the inside who aren't grossly immoral, either heterosexually or homosexually, and cheat on their wives to show that they're otherwise blackmailable. But Romney has got this problem of... and it stems from the Mormon background of having a persecution complex, of being persecuted for so long, have been called non-Christians. In fact, you had Bill Schnabelen on, ranting and raving about how evil Mormons are. Well, as a Mormon, I take great umbrage of that. Most Mormons are extremely patriotic, very conservative, very dedicated Christians who really believe in that Jesus is their Savior. And
well, just to be clear, Joel, I don't know who Bill Schnabelen is. We had a 48-hour broadcast, and I don't want to create a big controversy over this, but I haven't seen what you're talking about, but I'll try to look into it. I was told we were doing a report on the history of Halloween. Was what I green-lighted for the reporters, but go ahead.
Well, I just got a lot of complaints from me about having this anti-Mormon rant on Alex Jones, and I said, well, I know Alex doesn't agree with that.
I don't try to go around attacking, anybody. I'm trying to fight the New World Order, but
I understand, Alex.
But go ahead.
I understand. But I'm saying it's very important to understand, and this even affects a lot of fundamentalist Christians who feel like they're out of the mainstream, and so oftentimes you have big televangelists who are in the Christian community trying to kowtow to the White House and get on the prayer breakfast roll, trying to make the establishment recognize them, and it's just not good for religion. It hasn't been good for Mormonism to seek for the approval of the world. And so Mitt Romney thinks he's doing his church a favor, he's doing his family background a favor, and the country by seeking to get the establishment to accept him. So he bends over backwards. He hires Chertoff and Associates to bring on the best and the brightest advisors. It's a typical CEO weakness. When you're a big businessman, you hire the best and the brightest. You don't do your own thinking for you, other than your own, financial business decisions, which he's very good at making. But, he doesn't know anything about this New World Order. He doesn't know anything. And there's no excuse, because there's a lot of Mormons that do. The conservative constitutionalists full of Mormons who really understand this conspiracy issue, but he does not, because he wants to make it in the world. He doesn't want to know about it. And so he surrounds himself with globalist advisors and allows them to control his agenda. But the reason the powers that be have tried to stop Romney for so long, both in 2008, both in 2012, is because they are afraid of a non-insider what they might see in the White House. A lot of black operations. If the Benghazi thing went down the way it went down with Barack Obama, who's a puppet, sure, Tom Donilon, who told him at 5 p.m. that day that the ambassador was in danger of being dead, and he was dead a couple of hours.
Let's stop right there and go over your report, because I've been looking at this, and I've seen reports of it's a false flag, to blame Obama, but then I haven't really seen the evidence of that. But then now in hindsight, you look at it, it looks like the al-Qaeda groups that they put in charge of Benghazi, who were charged with security overall, their subgroup are the ones that attacked, and then why Obama would deny help to sabotage himself. I've really tried to figure out what was happening. From your research, what really happened?
Well, in the first place, Obama had nothing to do with it. Obama's a puppet sitting there. This was done by typical black operations. In my opinion, now, let's go through the issue. First of all, this was not a consulate. This was not an embassy. This was a compound. Had a couple of warehouses associated with this compound.
Like a safe house.
No, not a safe house.
A compound.
What they would call a mission, meaning a small compound, temporary building.
A substation.
Couple of warehouses associated with chock full of weapons that they had collected from Gaddafi when they took over. And a lot of these had been stockpiled, not by any U.S. troops or anything. They'd been stockpiled by various militias. But what was happening is that the U.S. was starting to sell off this stockpile or give it away to jihadists who were involved in the Syrian opposition, and they were using Turkey as the channel for this. Well, there was obviously a competition between several of these al-Qaeda and jihadist groups, Muslim Brotherhood included, in the area, and the Benghazi people, wanted those weapons, and that's why the attack went down to take the weapons and keep the United States from shipping them off to other groups. But in the process, this does not explain why the ambassador was allowed to be killed. This was clearly a stand-down order. This was not something where, as many neocon advisors to the president the president isn't talking, the media isn't talking about what went on here, but alternate media of the left and the right and the neocons is exchanging information about this. And the standard story of the neocons supporting this operation is that they wanted to simply not antagonize Muslims, so they're going to let American die rather than directly attack these insurgents, which they had been supporting. This really doesn't hold water, because you could have come in and inserted troops and things. They had plenty of time. This took several hours to go down. You could have inserted, you could have driven off the things and held a truce and sorted it out. They purposely let this ambassador die. And unfortunately, 3 other Americans, 2 Navy SEALs who had disobeyed orders to go in and save the ambassador, plus another techie guy that was there. But what I also found out is there were 5 security people with the ambassador there, and they abandoned him, and they all survived. Now, that's against all the protocols of people who are tasked, whether it's Marines or CIA, and this was CIA, people to protect the ambassador. They abandoned him. That's the only way that they all survived.
Well, that's the thing. They say that some say this is a false flag, Tarpley and others, and I've heard them out. I don't know what the truth is perfectly. I'm trying to figure it out. They say it was a false flag to make Obama look bad, but Obama and his people, his apparatus was in command. They're the ones that denied the help, not the neocons.
Well, let me put it this way. It was the dark side of government in command of this. Obama wasn't in command. Obama didn't give any orders. He was simply told what was going down.
So why did the dark side do this?
Well, let me put it this way. Tarpley's wrong on this, in my opinion. This was not meant to take Obama down, because the dark side of government has an intrinsic relationship with the media. If there was a thing to undo Obama, to take him down, make him look bad, and accrue to Romney, the media would have followed up. They have
Sure. No, clearly the media was on the side of this, and they're allied with dark side. Stay there. Well, let's see who you think's really behind this and what's at the bottom of it. Alex Jones here with a very important announcement for truth seekers. We've carried a lot of amazing films and books over the years on the online video bookstore at Infowars.com. And out of all the titles we've carried, one stands out because it is just so chillingly convincing. And that's Dreams from My Real Father by Joel Gilbert, available at Infowars.com. This film exposes the fraud that Obama is like nothing I've seen. If you want to know who Obama's real daddy is, this is the film for you. Don't forget, your purchase supports our broadcast and our growing media network. You'll also find at InfoWarsShop.com, None Dare Call It Conspiracy by Gary Allen, the book that woke me up. We're also carrying Behind the Green Mask, UN Agenda 21 by Rosa Corey. This book is coffin nails to the globalist takeover. The Greater Good, the most professional and up-to-date film I've ever seen exposing the scourge that is vaccines. These titles and a lot more are all available at InfoWarsShop.com.
You know what happens to your digestive health around the holidays? Right. Unusual schedules and foods you don't normally eat can cause upset stomach and indigestion. But you can prepare your digestive tract with Pro-EM1 Probiotic Cleanse from Terraganics.com. Pro-EM1 is all natural and made with certified organic ingredients. It contains no genetically modified ingredients or preservatives and has no animal products, wheat, soy, dairy, or gluten. Pro-EM1 does not require refrigeration, so you can take it with you, over the river and through the woods to Grandma's house. Pro-EM1 supports a healthy, regular digestive system, supports weight loss, and improves absorption of food nutrients. Improve your digestion and keep off those extra pounds with Pro-EM1 Probiotic Cleanse. Call or click Terraganics.com, spelled Terraganix.com. Toll free 866-369-3678. That's 866-369-3678. Terraganics. Life's getting better.
In a coming-apart world, you need something to keep it tied together. That something is Atwood Rope, the highest quality rope made in the USA, from exotic braids for military, rescue, arborists, shipyards, tow line, or boating. Quality rope at affordable prices you and your customers can depend on. Find a dealer or shop online at atwoodrope.net. Enter promo code RADIO to receive 100 feet of 550 paracord free with purchase. Atwood Rope, working to keep the world tied together.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? They've been available since 1986, yet the financial industry won't recognize the value of gold for your retirement. Gold has outperformed paper investments, yet no word about IRAs. If you would like to have gold for your retirement, call 800-686-2237. Don't get left behind by rising inflation and low returns. Call 800-686-2237. Secure your future and call 1-800-686-2237.
Hello, this is Ty Bollinger, author of the best-selling book, Cancer, Step Outside the Box. I want you to know some very important information. In 1985, President Ronald Reagan requested that Carnivora be sent directly to the White House at a time when only the president could obtain this world-class healer. Now, 27 years later, Carnivora capsules are used around the world to keep people healthy. Now you can protect yourself and your loved ones in this age of superbugs with 17 naturally occurring compounds that instinctively respond to abnormal cells only without harming a single normal cell. If you want to stay healthy, now's your chance to literally wake up your critical immune cells to attack harmful invaders that don't belong in your body. Call 1-866-VENUS-FLY or order from carnivora.com. That's carnivora.com. That's 1-866-836-8735, 1-866-VENUS-FLY, or visit carnivora.com. Protect your immune system. It's the only one you've got.
Joel Skousen, a former Marine Corps naval aviator in Vietnam, author, researcher. He's in our new film, Strategic Relocation, that integrates with the book, Strategic Relocation, all available at InfoWarsStore.com. And everyone needs this. Or let's say you're already prepared. Give it as a gift this Christmas. Give it to your friends and family. Also give gift subscriptions, 12 issues of InfoWars magazine. When we have back issues, we'll stick some of those in too. When supplies allow, so you probably get more in their first shipment. A big color, nice magazine covering all these issues. 12 of them delivered to their door. If that won't wake somebody up, nothing will. So we're going back to print as everybody else gets out of it, and it's having a huge effect. The 1776 pamphleteers. And as they move in the internet kill switch more and more, it's important to build up our print presence. Part of our preparedness to continue to get the word out. Oh, also, we're going to email it out today at about 5 o'clock, the digital version. If you want a free digital version of InfoWars magazine, you can go to InfoWars.com/newsletter and just sign up with your email, and we will send you a digital copy. We can click on the links and so much more. Very interactive. InfoWars.com/newsletter. Okay, good, Joel, this is a short segment, long segment coming up, but okay, so you're breaking down all the facts. Who do you think was behind it then?
Well, this was, in fact, a hit on an elimination of someone who I believe was getting cold feet. There's a lot of pressure on the government. The government's in denial that they are even supplying arms to the Syrian opposition. That's a lie. Christopher Stevens, the ambassador, knew it was a lie. I think he was getting cold feet, and that's what happens. Look what happened to these two generals who argued with the Pentagon. They did not want to stand down. They had live feed. They knew what was going down at that compound, and that an ambassador's life was at stake. The two Navy SEALs were there trying to fight. At 5CA, security men were there. They wanted to go in with Delta Team. So the admiral. Well,
that's right. Let's be clear. The SEALs were almost a mile away and ran there when nobody would help them. They were there attached to CIA and just basically refused to stand down.
That's correct. And but what I'm saying is that they had a laser designator with them. That means that they had an armed drone overhead, according to Claire Lopez, former CIA, and either that or an AC-130 gunship up there that was going to devastate, this opposition. And they were told to stand down. Now, that stand-down order had to be heard by General Hall and Admiral Goyette, who were on these communications wires, these satellite communications things, and they went hopping mad to the Pentagon, apparently, and they were both relieved on the spot because the bucking what was going on.
And that's right. Nobody's putting this together, but as you put it together, I've seen all these articles, but they never tell you what you're looking at, and now they're trying to trump stuff up on them. So again, you've got an arms cache by the local al-Qaeda security force that's under that command. He gets cold feet, so they send in the al-Qaeda force to kill their own people, basically, because the ambassador wasn't going to go along with giving missiles to al-Qaeda.
That's right. And it wasn't that he had gone along before, so I have to estimate that this was getting cold feet. This is not the first shipment that's been made out of Benghazi. To Syria. Yeah, that's right, from Benghazi to Syria through Turkey. And it was clearly an attempt to clean out the situation and make it go away. That's why the entire warehouses have been emptied now. The operation is done. But, they didn't just clean out an ambassador who knew too much and to silence him in that sense, because, they use these people, ambassadorial diplomatic positions, who are CIA. Christopher Stevens was CIA, he was an ambassador. Happens all the time. My wife was married to a diplomat in Athens, and he turned out to be, not my wife, but my mother, and he turned out to be CIA. She ended up divorcing him after finding that out. But they use black operations all the time, and they don't get rid of them unless they get cold feet. You read Rodney Stitch's book, Defrauding America. It's full of whistleblower accounts of people who got cold feet, started to buck black operations, and they ended up in prison or dead. And that's what happened here, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, people say, like you've said, once CIA, always CIA. That's not true. Actually, from what I've researched, the majority finally get given jobs evil enough, they say no, and they just set them up, kill them, or, run them to ground. And that's why this evil keeps winning. It can just go through as many cops, TSA, FBI, Army, whatever they need to find enough dark side operatives to put them into those power ranks.
That's right. Now, going back to my original segue into this is the reason they're afraid of having somebody like Romney in. If you're not an outright puppet like Obama or George Bush was, and you're somebody who really thinks he's president, if Romney wins this election and sees an operation like this...
Stay there. We got to go to break. Tell us about that when we come back.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Aaron Fullen here. As the food police shut down food co-ops, the Amish and small farmers, Americans are losing access, not just to raw milk and homemade cheeses, but to healthy home-crafted sources for fermented foods like sauerkraut, yogurt, and kefir. It seems there's a war on life-giving foods with living enzymes and healthy bacteria. But frankly, I'm not sure what the food police are so afraid of. These remarkable foods have been around since the beginning of history, with archaeological evidence for fermented foods and beverages being found across the globe in almost every culture. Even today, Japanese eat miso, Africans eat fermented porridges, Koreans eat kimchi, and in India, fermented milk is a staple for healthy living. But here's some good news. Self-reliant Americans can now discover the secrets to making these amazing fermented foods legally and privately in their own homes. Since it's still legal to make these foods as long as you can make them yourself. For more information, check out fermentationfactor.com. That's fermentationfactor.com. It's easy to create your own powerful fermented foods, and you can do it by going to www.fermentationfactor.com. That's www.fermentationfactor.com.
If you want an American company with American products made by Americans, here is the Cal Ben Soap Company. Alex and his staff have used these pure soap products for years. These all-natural soaps are made from the highest quality vegetable and coconut oils that are earth-friendly and safe. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog. Buy the 1 to 2 month sample package and enjoy soaps that are twice as good as what you're using now. Or save big with a 1 to 2 year supply of soaps for all your cleaning needs. This is an amazing deal. You can save thousands of dollars and you will love the way real soap makes you feel. See them on the web at 5starsoap.com or call 800-340-7091 for a free catalog.
Cold and flu season is upon us. Protect yourself with Supernatural Silver, a revolutionary new broad-spectrum antibacterial. Recent advances in silver technology have resulted in a silver solution that can be used daily to prevent bacteria, viruses, mold, and food poisoning, as well as help improve wound healing. Silver salt technology is safe enough to consume every day, while powerful enough to destroy the causes of many serious diseases, like strep throat, staph, pneumonia, colds, flus, and other harmful pathogens. This new technology is much more effective than colloidal or ionic silvers and has the ability to terminate entire colonies of harmful bacteria at several hundred times the effectiveness of older solutions. Supernatural Silver is what you need for any emergency. Go to supernaturalsilver.com today and use the promo code AlexSays for 20% off. And like us on Facebook.
You are listening to an Infowars.com frontline report. If you are receiving this transmission, you are the resistance. From deep in the heart of FEMA Region 6, Austin, Texas, transmitting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
Monday through Friday from 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. That's 9 a.m. to noon Pacific. We're here blasting out worldwide. All I want is liberty and freedom and transparency in my constitutional republic. I believe we're a nation state and a republic, not a globalist empire. I want to see 1776 worldwide. I want to see freedom worldwide, not authoritarianism. And the whole world is marching towards authoritarianism. There's different power blocks, but they all grab the latest technologies of control. And as the public becomes more and more domesticated, things are getting worse and worse. Joel Skousen of worldaffairsbrief.com joins us again. I'm Alex Jones of Infowars.com. The new film is out, Strategic Relocation, breaking down not just where to move, but micro regions in your area. So impressed with Joel Skousen because, you know, I've interviewed him many times over the last 14, 15 years. I've been interviewing him, I guess, since about 98 or so. Been on the air since 96. But actually reading Strategic Relocation, second edition, before the third came out, because I was looking at where to move outside Austin. I'd already pretty much chosen this area of the hill country. It wasn't perfect. It gets better further out, safety-wise. But it was still, you know, a lot better. More informed people, more prepared people. A lot of other folks that have moved out, you know, knowing what's going on. And then talking to Joel in person, but also off air. And when he came to Austin, he just knew so much about the hill country that I'd grown up in and around. Now, I grew up in Dallas-Fort Worth area, but also had family down in Austin, so spent a lot of time in the hill country and been here since high school. And just amazing. And then other spots of the country I've been to and know about, he knew all about them. And things I learned about certain cultures and groups in certain areas, he knew. I mean, real research. And so he's focused on this. I haven't focused on it, so he knows a lot more than I do. I just spot checked a lot of it and found it to be really accurate information. So I hope you get the film because it's got escape routes in your city. It's got countries rated on their economic freedom, political freedom. You know, if you choose to leave the country, Joel doesn't really overall recommend that. Perhaps we can talk some about preparedness before he leaves us. Now, there's people who've been holding a while that I guess they've chosen to hold, but I'll try to get to them for their reports from the East Coast. But Joel, finishing up with the whole Benghazi situation, what does it signify that they did this and thought they could get away with it? I mean, I know they can sell, snow cones to Eskimos the way the public's dumbed down, but looking at this, they publicly run al-Qaeda against Libya, engage in ethnic cleansing of the blacks, call it a peace operation. Then they start attacking a year ago Syria, who I'm no fan of, but compared to al-Qaeda, Assad's a really nice guy. Saudi Arabia is backing all this. They're running around like madmen. They're trying to get a Shiite-Sunni war going. There's 10,000 missiles missing, 2,000 of them heat-seeking or radar-guided. I mean, you're a former naval aviator. You can break that down for us, but I've talked to Air Force folks confirming that. But it's been in the news, and that's not an issue. PSA needs to, grope everybody and teach us we're al-Qaeda and have highway checkpoints, but the government runs al-Qaeda, and then they admit this was the main security force over Benghazi, that the West had put in out of Libya, into eastern Libya, to first launch the civil war a year and a half ago. And then it was this group that goes in and kills him. And then they say, oh, it was just a protest that got out of control. And, I mean, what really happened? How is it going for him? What do you see happening in the election?
Well, they have to keep this phony war on terror going. And that's the reason I believe that the powers that be hired some really second-rate guys to produce this video. Hardly got shown in the United States. It was specifically made to be shipped overseas and given to higher-end al-Qaeda people who went around showing it to Muslim groups to get them all riled up to go attack various embassies. But this is more political theater, essentially, to keep the American people believing. This dovetails with things like Glenn Beck's The Project. This is a propaganda outfit. I'm not claiming that Glenn Beck understands this, but he got this information from a government who said they got it out of Switzerland, just hyping the Muslim Brotherhood threat. It is hype. Almost everybody who's made anything in the Muslim Brotherhood or these pro-Islam type of foundations in the United States are run by the United States government. They're the ones that supply them. They're the ones that help them out. They do not intend to let the Muslim Brotherhood or the al-Qaeda people take over the United States. The documentary, The Project, is a lot of fraudulent stuff, comparing it to infiltration with the Marxists. Not going to happen. They have a cultural and racial different look. You cannot infiltrate Caucasian society without being very, very noticeable. The only way that they're able to even immigrate into Europe and the United States because our government lets them in for crisis creation, for conflict creation purposes. But it's not that they allow them to take over. It's not going to be an Ottoman Empire threat. It's not a threat to our civilization. They want it to simply continue to drive the war on terror. It's being very, very successful. And a lot of dumb conservatives are falling into this trap of promoting this Muslim Brotherhood hype, saying that this is the issue. The issue isn't that. It's our own government creating conflict, setting us up for wars. There's going to be a war in the Middle East. The reason that the war on Iran has been postponed almost 6 months, could be anywhere from 3 to 6 months, is specifically because Syria has been a hard nut to crack. They have to get rid of Syria before they attack Iran in order to diminish the threat of retaliation. Syria has far more retaliatory capacity than Iran does on Israel, and they're much closer. Their non-guided missiles can play havoc in Israel. Hezbollah's got about 1,000 smaller missiles, can't do a lot of damage, but Syria can. And that's why Syria has to be removed. That's why all the stops were pulled out to be able to move this equipment in, and that's why they've hired every al-Qaeda, every terrorist they can in the Middle East to go fight against Syria. And, Turkey is taking advantage of what I think are false flag mortar attacks onto the Syrian side of the border so that Syria can double up or triple up on the retaliation they're going against Syria. I think they're trying to provoke Syria into an armed response to Turkey that will justify NATO coming in because, frankly, the Free Syrian Army and the other al-Qaeda types in there are not making headway. They're not going to be able to beat Syria until NATO starts a no-fly zone, which, as you and I know, is much more than a no-fly zone, until they send special forces in there to undermine what's going on.
Well, yeah, they call it a no